Hello and welcome to Taboo
Taboo
Couch.
Couch.
Lils, we're out of sync. Let's do that again. Hello and welcome to Taboo
Taboo
Couch.
Couch.
Today's episode is Pup Love and Human Crufts.
Wow.
Truth about kink, identity, and play. In today's episode, we're rolling over into the world of pup love, kink, identity play, and the tail-wagging joy of being fully seen, sometimes in a hood and sometimes in a harness. We also dive into Human Crufts, the gloriously absurd parody where humans strut their stuff in the spirit of Crufts, but with glitter, humor, and a lot of woof barking. Whether you're a therapist, a curious listener, or just wondering why your mate is suddenly buying chew toys for themselves, this episode breaks it down without kink shaming, without sensationalism, and we're not going to forget to laugh. So,
of course we're going to laugh. We're curious.
So before we begin, we're just going to put our warning out and just say, this episode, it's informative. I can't get my words out today, Lils. It's informative, inclusive, and affirming of kink practices. And it's an adult audience that we're aiming at.
Yes.
It's consensual, it's creative expression, and it's, our episode focuses on the psychological meaning and therapeutic approaches, and it's not about any explicit content.
No.
However, our audience is adult listeners.
100%. 100%.
So, Lils, I hope that you're drooling. Woof woof.
I'm wagging my tail.
I can see. So today we're going to be covering what pup love kink is and what it isn't. Actually, Lils, did I introduce us today?
No, I don't think you did. I'm Lily.
Oh my word. Hi, Lils, and I'm Babushka.
Hi, Babushka.
Hi, Lils. And we are counsellors in training, and we are here learning loads, and we hope that you are too.
Yes, definitely. I love this kind of research we've been doing.
It's been really, really revealing, and it's just been so eye-opening.
Really?
That's
It really has.
Yeah. So today what we're going to be looking at is what is pup love kink and what it isn't. We're going to be looking at, why people might find this kind of kink healing. We're going to be looking at how people might self-regulate, and we're going to be looking at kind of community in the pup space.
Yeah.
We're going to also be looking at, some counselling theories, because that's really why we're here.
Yes.
We're going to be looking at some stats from the kink community. And we're also going to be looking at what Human Crufts teaches us about identity, parody, and performance art. Can you say that after 2 glasses of Prosecco, Lils?
No, I can't say that now. I mean, who would have thought Human Crufts? Human Crufts is actually a thing.
It really is. And there are videos all over YouTube.
Yes, yes.
So it turns out that pretending to be a Labrador is cheaper than therapy. But I think not nearly as well trained.
We do have, schools have anxiety dogs, don't they? Like well-being dogs.
Yeah,
in hospitals
dogs.
They do therapy dogs.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the same kind of thing though, Babushka. But let's explore it. It might have the same result. Yeah, it might be therapeutic and calming for both parties.
Well, actually, in terms of trauma recovery, pup love is a real help. And for people who are neurodivergent as well, about 30% of the pup population are people who are neurodivergent. So I think there's a lot of healing involved in pup play. And I think what we'll be looking at today is, ways that we can support clients in their pup play, in ways that affirm their identity, always looking at the issues of consent and co-regulation. So, we're hoping that this episode is going to be really informative, really inclusive, really affirmative.
It
Let's
sounds
go
really
through
interesting. Yeah, I'm really interested, especially like 30% of those who do pup play are neurodivergent. So I've got
Yeah.
quite a big interest in those with ASD as well. So I can understand that.
So here on Taboo Couch, we want to unpack the questions you dare not ask.
Yes, yes.
And explore the answers that you never even knew you needed.
Yeah, I thought I didn't need to know all of this, but I find it really interesting.
Well, let's just say that today we're here and we're going to go and fetch some truth.
Throw me a stick. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, but don't come back with all drool over the stick, because I will not be picking that up. So we're diving muzzle first into the curious, heartfelt world of pup love kink. And we want to find out, why some people, might feel most free when they're in their pup suits and they can bark and crawl and wag their tail and lift their leg up and wee against the lamppost. And what has this got to do with, play and safety and identity?
Yeah.
We'll be looking at how we're gonna get Lils into a collar.
No, I didn't sign up for that. Babushka, I didn't sign up for that. I did, and I'll tell the listeners a bit later about what I've planned for us in August, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
I can't wait. I'm excited, thrilled. I'm going to be a good dog. So, I mean, had you ever heard of pup love kink before today?
No, I hadn't. And I was really shocked. And that's the thing, we research these ideas and then you look into it. And I think this one, I can really see the kind of nurturing side. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem to be, from some of the videos that I've seen, a sexual thing. I'm sure it can be as well, but that doesn't seem to be so much what I'm finding. The video that you sent me of the guy who I think there's a program on it, wasn't it? And he came home from work and had that latex suit, and it was a Dalmatian, yeah. And he needed help to get in it, towel compelled and everything. It was really, really tight, like a wetsuit. And he slept in a dog cage, didn't he?
Yes.
And had puppy pads.
Yes.
But it's a shame because the video cut off, because I wonder how he went to the toilet, because there might have been a little flap in that suit, because it was like a wetsuit.
Yes, it was like a wetsuit. And apparently a lot of people into puppy play are also into kind of leather. Yes,
that's a big thing, yeah.
Yes, and some of the pup love community are also people who are gay and into leather and into pup play. So I think there's a lot of crossover in this kink between different kink communities. So
go on.
Carry on, Nils. You were going to say something interesting.
That was how it started, wasn't it?
It started in the gay community,
and not like just after World War II. So it does go back. Yeah,
and apparently in the UK there are about 10,000 people who regularly participate in pet play. And there was a program on Channel 4 years ago called The Secret Life of Human Pups, and those were some of the videos that we looked at. But they were they were so. Lils, I'm stuck for words again. They were engrossing.
Yes.
It was a really interesting world, and watching people's reactions to seeing people dressed up as pups, and their handlers walking them down the street, and people's views. Some people were kind of scandalized.
Yes.
Some people were clearly shocked but interested. And there was somebody else who said, we need more of this.
Yes, I saw that. I think that was a cab driver. He said, we need more of that.
So apparently 35% of the pup play participants identify as being part of the LG
PTQ.
I think I've got too much tongue and not enough teeth, or is it too many teeth and not enough tongue?
LGBTQ plus. Yeah,
community.
Yes.
and with a strong presence in the queer non-binary communities as well. And, you know, when I was researching this, I'm thinking, well, what are the motivations, you know, for pup play? And in a survey in 2017, 86% of the people who responded said that pup play helps them manage stress or anxiety.
Okay. Is that, are we looking at having taken on a different persona, so almost like leaving your human self or yourself at the door and being nurtured and looked after?
Yes, and part of our challenge was this is a very niche subject and there is not much research.
No.
So some of the research we're quoting is, you know, pre-pandemic. So the stats could have changed, could have shifted, especially as you know, that this becomes more widely known.
Yes. Yeah.
70% of respondents reported that pup play gives them a sense of freedom and joy that they couldn't access in their day-to-day life. And over 50% did not view their involvement with pup play as erotic. For them, it was more about identity, connection, and play.
Wow.
Any questions, Lil?
Well, I mean, you've got pups and then you've got the handlers, and I was just wondering whether it's something that you have in a relationship, or could it be like dominatrix, that maybe you go somewhere to be a pup? And I suppose there's two sides to that, isn't there? You could be in a relationship, so you both go out to work. It could be male, female, 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 male, male, whatever.
Again, it's very fluid.
Again, it's very fluid. So then you can come home from work and put your dog outfit on. Not necessarily, not everyone would have a dog outfit, just that particular guy. Some people, there's lots of masks, isn't there? I went on some sites.
Lots of masks.
Yes. And there's
ceramic
a sale.
masks.
Yeah. I saw a sale. I was going to buy myself one.
Please buy two.
Buy two. I mean, for this event that we're going to, we could get one of these. They're about £78 for the sort of head part. But they were £36. Half price at the moment.
So buy one, get one free.
Buy one, get one free. There we go. We could both have one. We could have matching ones.
I want to be a Dalmatian.
Do you?
I fancy spots.
I think I'd be a mixer dog, you know, a bit of everything. Or I'd be one of those, what are those dogs, the really big bushy ones from Japan?
I have no idea.
Dogs
scare me.
Oh, do they? I love dogs.
I'm scared of dogs.
So would you want to be the dog or the owner? What would you be if you had to be one?
Oh my word, that is a really good question, Nils. I have no idea. Well, I think in the same with putting on the masks, we're saying we'd probably want to be the dog, but I'm not sure how I'd feel about getting down on all fours and crawling around and going,
my poor knees.
Woof, woof.
Yeah, not with my poor knees. I don't think I'll be doing that. But
I then understand the thought of being a handler and, you know, being the dominant person in that dynamic, I'm not sure how I'd feel about that either.
The thing is, dog owners and their dogs, they're very loving, you know, so I'd imagine it's not probably much work. It's more like sit, play, roll over, let me tickle your tummy, feed them, go to sleep.
There's some stroking and licking that goes on as well.
there is. Yeah, I think I'm seeing it from the Cinderella fairy tale side rather than the other side.
Come down here and get in the kennel.
Yes. Yes.
But thinking of this, you know, how would I feel being a dog handler? I think I might feel a bit uncomfortable because of the control issues, but then I'm not sure I'd want to be the sub either.
I think I'd probably want to be the sub more than the handler. I'd have issues of weeing and cocking my leg. Or being a girl, I think I'd squat, wouldn't I? And I don't know if I would want to eat on all fours my food. I'd like the treats, I'd like the cuddles and the belly rubs. That all sounds really nice.
That bit sounds nice, and I could go with that. But I'm wondering, you know, even now as we're thinking about this, what are the psychological benefits for the person who is the sub and the person who's the handler?
Well, person who's the sub, it's just like letting go, isn't it? And it's taking on a different persona. But it's not only that. Whereas when you've got, when we talked last week about the little girl and the bratting, that's still a human persona. Yeah. But this is a dog persona or a canine persona.
Yeah, it's very different.
Very different.
Yeah. And you kind of, when I think of kind of dogs, I always have this sense of fear because I was bitten by a dog as a child.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm always got that little, but to think of, being a submissive and lying on my back, having my belly rubbed, fed treats, that sounds good. Then the thing about me having the collar put on my neck,
yes,
and being taken for a walk, I think maybe that's where I'd maybe have a bit of,
yeah.
Are we sure about this?
And also, we're seeing it's the very nurturing side, but it could also be sit, roll over, get up on all fours. It could be lots of commanding. Go and fetch this, fetch my slippers. Do train your pets to do that. So it could be, I'm seeing it as the nurturing side. My dog's just laying on the floor and have his legs in the air. That's all my dog does. It's the life of Riley. And I feed it, he rubs and give it a cuddle. But maybe it's not.
Well, some people report that the benefits are, emotional regulation, and they get, great co-regulation with their handler or with the pack, because people do this in groups.
Yes.
There's disinhibition. People can express their joy and affection and their vulnerability and their safety. For some people, it's about stress reduction, maybe a bit similar to kind of meditation or somatic grounding. And, there's that sense of community and bonding within a community, being part of a pack of dogs and play events.
I must say,
events.
Babushka, how do dogs greet each other? They sniff each other's bums. They do. That is how they greet each other.
What, like that?
Just sniff each other's bums. Now, often when I take my dog out for a walk and somebody else walks past and their dog starts sniffing each other's bums, I always say, I cringe after and say, wouldn't it be interesting if humans did that when they met? And then sometimes people laugh and say yes. Sometimes I get a funny look. So the thought of me going to one of these meetups, conventions, and it sounds nice, let's all have a little puppy play, let's roll around and share all our toys and everything. But have we got to sniff each other's bums? Because that's how you'd say hello.
Well, I guess if you're in role and you're
in your role,
playing,
you would do it, yeah.
I'm just hoping that anything I'd get to sniff would be proper clean. proper clean.
Exactly. I don't really do smells. I really don't. It'd have to be like roses.
I've got a very sensitive nose. Seriously, I do not. There are certain aromas that I am not a friend of.
Oh dear.
But we're talking about the kind of emotional side, but there's also a lot of gear that goes with this. I mean, we've spoken about the masks, but there are hoods, there are tails, there are collars, there are knee pads, there are mitts, there are pup tags,
harnesses. Like you wear under your chest, so on your lead rather than your neck.
Yeah,
no.
There's just a whole load of paraphernalia that goes with this, and then there's also the kind of language. It's non-verbal communication.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of barking. Woof, woof.
Yeah.
Some growling. Did I sound convincing?
And is it like one bark for yes, two barks for no? Because really, a dog wouldn't be able to do that. Well, maybe you could train your dog to do that. So how, like I'd imagine people do eat from a bowl when you get in roll, and you do drink from a bowl.
Lapping it up.
Yeah, lapping it up. I mean, also the thing that, well, do we? I'm thinking grooming. No, we're not apes or anything. Dogs don't groom each other, but your owner would. Your owner would. I'd check. Would. Yeah, I'd check my dog for fleas or something. I mean, that'd be quite nice to be sort of touched all over.
and checked for fleas. Lils, I sometimes wonder what goes on in your mind. What goes on in your subconscious?
I don't think I've recovered from exophilia. I don't think I've recovered from that. Oh,
that was
dear.
a brilliant episode.
That was so
I
funny.
encourage you listeners, go back and listen to that one.
Yes, and we definitely
it really was. It was definitely out of this world.
It really was.
But then, there are things like, the body language as well, kind of like things like making puppy eyes,
Yes.
My friend has a dog called Radley. He's one of those small toy dog things. Mm-hmm. And I picked him up once when he was a puppy, and he was very cute and lovely, but he's grown a lot since then. But when he does something naughty and you go to him, Radley, and then he just looks at you with these big brown chocolate eyes like, oh, please, just don't scold me, just love me.
Yeah. And they make noises.
Yes. And he has got his owner wrapped around his little paws. Yes. He really does. So, I just wanted us to think of moving on and thinking about, the human Crufts.
Yes. Oh, please. So the human Crufts, I stumbled across that. I think it was called Mr. Puppy UK. Ran it, and it stopped this year. I was really looking. So we do have a Mr. Puppy UK for this year. But what it is, they run in 2024, and then you keep the title for the following year. But it seems to have stopped. If there's anybody out there who knows that it's still running, I've done lots of research. It seems to have stopped. I've been on their website. It is no more. However, I did watch some videos that I stumbled across when I typed in puppy love, and I had to watch it a few times. So imagine Crufts. It did look like it was in a sports gym, and there were people sitting around, and the owner was dressed in certain attire, like leathery kind of wear, and
make you sound like a crocodile. Leathery wear.
It was almost like BDSM wear. It wasn't just like, your shirt and tie. So it was kinky, let's say. Mm-hmm. And then his pup was a female who came out, and he, like Crufts, didn't say much, just lifted his hand up, and she stood on all fours, and then did a hand movement that suggested a pointed finger and turning over like a rolled over. She rolled over, then he pushed down. There was no talking, and then she rolled down. Everybody cheered. No one put up numbers, like to see the score, but that's what happened.
Well,
and that is human Crufts.
Yeah, it sounds very entertaining. And at human Crufts, the dogs, the pups, are judged on teeth, coat, agility, and party tricks.
Yes.
I could judge you on those criteria, couldn't I? Mm-hmm. Teeth, coat, agility, and party tricks. What's your best party trick, Nils?
I think I'd probably lay on my back with my legs in the air. Thinking about the dog, if I was a dog, I don't mean that's my actual party trick. I was thinking the dog, if I was a dog.
Please make the distinction clear.
Yeah, just go to a party, have a few drinks, just lay on my back. But no, I think if I was a dog, that would be my party trick. I don't think I'd be able to do much with my knees. I really don't. They don't crawl around on their knees. They actually walk on all fours of their feet like a dog. The dog doesn't go on halfway down.
Some of the videos I saw, they were on their hands and knees crawling around. Well, they've got knee pads.
Right. Oh, well, I was watching them walking around in London, so maybe even the knee pads wouldn't protect you from all the stuff on the floor anywhere outside.
But I saw in the videos some dogs, that some pups, they really were kind of mimicking dog behavior, sniffing lamp posts and, sniffing anything, getting their noses really close to the ground. And, for somebody, I'm not exactly OCD, but for me, that was a bit, I'm not sure about that.
Yes. But they did have their puppy paws on, and they had puppy shoes on. So I was for hygiene. Again, we come back to the hygiene with me always, is that their hands are protected. And that video you sent me of the guy who put the outfit on, the latex outfit on, it was quite interesting because it was very important that he could sniff. Now obviously he can breathe because there's a mouthpiece as well, but it was very important because dogs smell everything. Their sensories are like 10,000 more than us. So when he put his mask on, he did sort of push his fingers into the nostril where it fit his nose, and he was sniffing it. You could hear him sniffing. So that was very important because dogs sniff a lot, don't they?
Dogs do sniff a lot. And I'm wondering, going back to our earlier segment on sniffing.
Yeah. I mean,
yes, it would have to smell, like you said, like roses, and that would be the least. That would be the starting kind of aroma.
And the other thing that dogs do, my dog likes to sniff. This probably isn't every dog that does this. My dog should have been a sniffer dog, because whenever I go out for a walk, it takes me forever. We don't go far, and sniffs everything and then licks it. So I think my dog is sniffing and licking other dogs' wee. I don't know if everybody's dog does that, but my dog does seem to love to do that. So
do you kiss your dog?
No.
Okay, because I know some people who do.
I kiss my dog's head for that reason. I don't do the licking, and luckily he's not a licky dog. He's not one of those dogs that just lick you all the time, so it's pretty good. Probably because he's licking the wee when he goes out. But I was thinking, because we've got to tell everybody that I'm really interested in me and Babushka going out to some fetish events, and I've actually found a dog, a pup, and owner event for us to go to, and it's a meetup.
Yes, in August,
and it's in London, and you can go along. But I thought well, one of us would have to be the pup, because we don't really want to go in there look like nosy people or judging or anything like that. So
but you're going to try and make that me, because you've already said you're not dressing up.
I don't mind the dressing up. It's the walking around and the cleaning, and I'm not sniffing bums.
I'm going to make you clean up after me.
Yes, you could poop on the floor and I'll pick that up. That's absolutely fine. I don't mind picking up poop or all the stuff like that.
I think that's a topic for another episode.
I think that is. Yes, we'll save that one, because I just had some visions of some things I could talk about. But let's leave that one.
Please.
Yes, but what I found with this this thing that we're going to go to is that rather than us go in there, and because we don't look the part and we don't want to look like people who turn up to these events and are judging them and watching, but there was some videos that I saw on TikTok and YouTube from what happens is it's on from like 11 till 4, so 11 in the morning, it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then say about 2 o'clock, after they've played puppy games and they're doing everything they're doing, like probably all the pups meet together and then all the doms meet together and stuff, they go out, take them out for a walk. They go to the park and throw sticks and balls. But there was lots of them just walking along the high street in London, and there was lots of people taking photos, but they didn't seem to be offended of that. They seemed to like that, because that's the last thing I'd want to do, is be staring at someone or pointing them or going over, and that's not what I want to do. And it was nice to see, like you said, that guy, the cab driver, put his head out and said, we should see more of that.
Yeah, maybe he dresses up as a pup.
Or maybe
if you are a London taxi driver
yes,
who's into pup love, contact us at Taboo Couch.
Yes.
We'd love to have a deeper conversation with you.
Yes, and also anyone who's been to any of these, please let us know, is there something that we should be mindful of when we go? Because we really don't want to be breaking any rules or, looking like we're going because we're curious and obviously for our research. So it seems that they come out for a walk 2 or 3 o'clock. So I was thinking me and you could go up there, park ourselves in a little coffee shop, and then hopefully we'll be able to chat to some people, because I'm really curious.
Am I still in costume at this time?
Forget that. Maybe you could duck into the toilet. Can you imagine us sitting outside and having coffee?
How am I going to go to the toilet? How am I going to go to the loo? This is going to be a big problem for me. In fact, I think that's my major question of all of this. How am I going to the loo?
Yes. Well, I mean, I think that guy in that latex outfit, he did have a little zippy down. It was latex. It was like a Velcro bit. But I think
it's always easier for men.
It is always easier for men. They have a hose. We don't. They can aim the hose. We don't. You know.
You're making me think of the hose pipe ban that's coming into effect across England because we were in a drought.
I mean, have you ever tried a shiwi?
No. Do I look like a person of class to you?
I thought you would. Do you know what a shiwi is, though?
Yes, I do.
So I was going to go camping.
A receptacle.
Yeah. I was going to go camping, all of us, and I just thought, I cannot do, I've done all the going to the toilet in a field when I've done festivals in my younger days. I can't be doing this. So my friend said, we'll have to get a shiwi. And she said, she practiced with hers before we went. We didn't end up going in the end, and I didn't get a shiwi, but I'm fascinated by it. I thought, when you're driving down the motorway, I know you shouldn't do this, listeners, but if you're desperate for a wee, you pull over on the hard shoulder, men can just jump out, have a little wee, just looks like they're standing there looking at the trees and get back in. Oh, no, not us. We've got to find somewhere discreet, full moon, bottom out, probably fall over because my knees are hurting. We just can't do it. So whoever invented the shiwi is amazing, but I still can't see me using it.
Well, if your bottom out is a full moon, mine must be a total eclipse.
Yeah, mine is definitely a full moon. It's massive.
Do you know, Lils, this subject of pup love, this kink, is one of the most controversial.
Really? Of all the ones that we've talked about so far?
Yeah, because people often confuse it with bestiality, which it definitely is not. They're thinking because it involves, kind of animal role play, that it must be, linked to bestiality. A bit like, our episode on fur play, but it's really not. Pup play is human to human, it's consensual, and it has nothing to do with actual animals.
No, it doesn't. No, bestiality is something that we won't be covering.
No, really won't.
Not. But this isn't, and that upsets me really that people do think that.
But I think it's this kind of misunderstanding, that kind of sparks this kind of moral outrage and legal concerns. Despite the fact that it's actually incorrect.
Yes, yeah. Well, like most people get it wrong, don't they?
Yeah, and so we're here to correct that view.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
And then, when we think about, kind of cultural contexts, in Western societies, kink is often associated with things like shame and secrecy and deviance, especially kind of any kind of non-vanilla expressions of sexuality or identity. So I think one of the questions that we ask here is, why is pup love kink kind of seems to be so threatening?
Why is it? Why would people think it's threatening?
Because I think it's about rules, and breaking rules. And I think even though there are rules, right out at the extreme left and the extreme right, something like this kind of makes people feel a bit uncomfortable, more than some of the other kinks that we've explored.
Okay, let's try and see it from the another person's point of view. I suppose maybe people would think that it could be seen as you're treating somebody like a dog. I mean, my dog's treated like a prince, but
I know, but
treated like a dog.
I know, and you treat me like I'm a dog. You treat your dog like a prince.
I will be treating you like a dog.
Like a dog.
I'll be getting you that mask to wear.
But I think I think it's also about how people perceive adult behavior. Adults are supposed to be wise, grown up, well behaved, kind of, model members of society, good citizens. And I think that, when you have a kink like this, where people actually choose, to regress or to submit or, to even abandon language, because there's very little speech that goes on here. There's no conversation that goes on. There's the pup and there's the handler, and the handler's giving the commands and the pup is responding. So those things maybe kind of make this kink a bit more controversial, a bit less easy to talk about, around the Sunday dinner table.
Yeah, I do get that, but I think this is one of the for me anyway, the way I see it is, it seems the less harmless. To me, it seems quite nurturing. I know that there are dog owners that do abuse their dogs, like maybe kick them or stuff like that. And I think from the research I've done, it's not about that. It's about a love and surrendering and, like you say, just letting go. Like, had a really stressful day. I've got a very, very stressful job. Just to come home and just be cuddled and fed and left and taken out for a walk and looked after.
That sounds like Daddy Dom Little Girl as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
There's
does.
a lot of crossover.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, a lot of, emotional regulation issues, play and embodiment, and not necessarily it being about sexual arousal.
Yeah.
And I think, as a therapist, looking at it from, being a counsellor in training perspective, play is kind of quite therapeutic, isn't it? We encourage it amongst children, and even adults. We encourage adults to get back in touch with their inner selves. We ask adults in sessions, when was the last time you just had a little skip or a little hop and a jump? How are you getting on with your inner child? How healthy and how whole is that person? And it, from the research that we've done, this kink really is about looking inward about what your needs are and how do you express that outwardly.
And let's think about this in the room. So I've got a couple that I've been seeing for a few sessions, and then I wanted to try and see, because I can imagine a lot of people think, well, we'll ease into this couple of sessions in, and they just casually talk about, let's say that she is the pup and he is are they called the doms?
The handlers.
Handlers, that's it. And he's the handler. But they're not bringing any issues to that. They're not bringing any issues to that. They're just talking to you about it. And I just wonder what counsellors would have an assumption about. That would worry me, if there would be counsellors that would assume that is an issue and there's some kind of dominance to the pup. I know we're not trained for that. I know that. But I'm just wondering whether...
I was actually going to say, I think, again, we're here and thinking about the counselling space, the therapy space, and relationships. And in every relationship, there is a power imbalance.
Yes.
And I don't think that's, going to change in, a pup love relationship. In any couple's relationship, there is never 50-50. Even when, people say to you, oh yeah, we're in a 50-50 relationship. Really, somebody's having a better time than the other person.
Yeah, even if it's 70-30. But I'm wondering whether the other side of it. So let's just say it's a heterosexual couple, and I'm purely going on the video that I watched where it was the woman that was the pup and the male was the handler. So let's just say that the woman is the powerful woman. The woman is the woman who brings the money in the house. No, but she is actually the pup. So in their life, in their everyday life, she is a CEO of a company. He works as well, but she's got this powerful job and she just wants to come home and be nurtured. And you see a lot of that, you know, you've either got this really, really powerful job at work, and then when you come home, it's again with the DDLG as well, that kind of thing. Sometimes it's about letting go and being looked after, rather than people seeing it as, oh, you just want to be dominated, or your handler just wants to control you. It might not be. It might be completely opposite.
And I also wonder, you know, when we're talking about women who are in, you know, quite prominent positions, when they go home, if they have children, are they, you know, still the main caregiver? Are they still the person doing the housework, the shopping? How, you know, and how are they managing that as well? Because these are all roles where you're being demanded of.
Yes. Yeah.
But when does she get to be the sub?
Yes, exactly. I mean, the children have left home and gone to uni. Right, that's it. Going to work, and then as soon as I come home, I'm Lassie. I mean, I think that's quite good. I think I've just sold it to myself. When I come in, I just don't want to hold anything else. I don't want to be sorting out the bills. I don't want to be cooking, because I've never seen a dog cook and clean. So actually, if there's any women pups out there, or male pups, I mean, do you still have to do the cleaning and stuff? And the cooking? Maybe not
Get
as
in
a pup.
touch.
Please
get in touch and tell us, because Lil's, I can see her ears are burning with curiosity. She really wants the answer to this one. And I think so do I.
Yes.
Because we want to understand human behavior. We want to understand, you know, how are people in relationships and how do these dynamics work? How do you negotiate with someone? How do you even start that conversation? How do you even introduce the idea of, Nils, darling, tonight, do you fancy dressing up as a pup? I'll be your handler. How do you start that conversation?
I'd start panting and go, yes. I mean, if you need no washing and cooking and cleaning, and I can just lay on the sofa curled up, watch TV, brilliant.
What if you were the sub?
It's just more work. Now I've got to do cooking and cleaning and feed you and pick up your dog poop. I don't think I'd want to. I think I'd be the pup. I mean, it sounds quite okay.
I watch people, you know, when they're outside picking up dog poo, and I just, no, Nils, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It does sometimes, but we'll save that.
But I think, you know, we're talking about how would you even, you know, bring this into a conversation? Where would you start? And I think, you know, relationships can often be under pressure because somebody in the relationship wants something that the other person doesn't.
Yes.
And, you know, especially around issues of intimacy, most of us haven't been raised, you know, to have those kind of conversations. So either we don't have the language, or we don't have, you know, an approach. How do you go in? You know, and most of us don't really have a lot of knowledge around, you know, different types of sexual expression.
I mean, we have now, you know, we've got the internet and we've got everything. You know, imagine years ago, it really would have been taboo and you would have felt so alone, so ashamed. Whereas now there's lots of communities out there where you can talk to other people. And I don't think it's something that's, you know, your handler will just come home one night and say to their partner, right, I want you to be a dog. I don't think it's that. I think it will start, you know, like very, I don't know. It's a bit like the little girl and the brat and stuff like that. It's like maybe have a tantrum one day and go, stop acting like a brat. And then that might, I don't know. I don't know whether people just go out, a relationship is a bit bland, let's spice it up, let's look up things. That may happen to some people, but I'm wondering whether the dog thing sort of comes in. Maybe you're stroking them one night. You know, it's not too bad being stroked while you're watching telly. Then you think, oh, I'm not a dog. Would you like to be one? Yeah, next minute your outfit's at the door. I mean, what dog would you be? Well, you said what did you say?
I'd want to be a Dalmatian. You know what? Because at least Dalmatians, they kind of look a bit elegant.
They do, Dalmatians. They do look really elegantly and very motherly as well, I always think. I mean, one Dalmatians.
Exactly. I'm kind of thinking I'd like to be kind of like, you know, the queen dog. kind of strutting my stuff down, Oxford Street.
I'd probably be a bulldog.
Yeah, actually, you totally would.
A bulldog does it. It waddles. They're quite big bulldogs. They're quite ugly as well. Sorry, people.
You're gorgeous, Lils. Lils, you're absolutely drop dead gorgeous.
No, but they walk of a bit of a bow. I hope I don't.
Dear audience.
I can imagine people are visualising me now, thinking she can't get up, she can't be on her knees, she's got a bum like a library. I mean, what on earth does this woman look like? And I'm very confident, by the way. Don't anyone sort of write in and think that I've got some insecurities. I'm quite happy.
Really, because she wants to be the handler all the time. Have you noticed this, dear listeners? Like willing for me to be her sub.
I mean, that's why I messaged you today. We're going. You know, very dominant of me. We're going.
Very dominant.
We're going to London and we're going to. I mean, can you imagine? Nobody else would go with me. And you're like, yeah, let's go. I think a trip to Amsterdam.
Big, brave, bold babushka.
Yes, and I'm Loopy Lily, so that's why we're a perfect pair.
We really are. But, we're not here to judge
not at all
anybody who's involved in this kink. And, we're not here to, in any way kind of, bring shame or guilt or anything like that. We really want to understand what's going on and how people feel and how people play out this kink. How do you express yourself? If this is an expression of who you really are, what's that saying about you? What's that saying about your internal narrative to yourself? And if it is, this desire to be, stroked and loved and played with and, to just be out of yourself, just to not be you for a little while.
Escapism.
I think, How often do you ever feel like, I just don't want to be Lils right now. I don't want to be this strong, this strong, tough woman, who's a shoulder for everybody, who's everybody's wise woman. They all come running to you when they've got a problem. How often would you like to lay that down, that persona down?
And I think I really would love to hear from Pups, because I think what I'm making an assumption, they probably are people that just want to be looked after because they've got this powerful job or because they've got 4 kids and they just need a break. And so, it could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. And that's why I'd like to hear and I'd like to learn, because I do want to be, and I know you do as well, we want to be the best counsellors that we can be, and that nothing will be taboo for us. I mean, I'm hoping there will be things that will stretch us and that we will come across taboo things, but to the reason we're doing this podcast is to learn knowledge for us and also share it with others.
Yeah, definitely. And when we talk about relationships, we're always looking at those relationships being consensual adults. But what if we're in a session one day when somebody says, I really don't want to do this, but I can't say no? Yeah. I'd be asking that client, well, have you ever felt this kind of pressure in any other relationships?
Yes.
Or, have you ever felt this kind of pressure from different aspects of the relationship? So it's not just the intimacy and the sex stuff and the erotic stuff and the arousal stuff, but are there other areas?
And just other areas in your life that maybe you just can't say no, maybe at work, with friends, it's all linked. And then that's
one of those,
a bigger picture.
Yeah. Are you one of those people who finds it hard to say no? Because there are people pleasers out there. There are people pleasers who are suffering in silence often because culturally or socially they're conditioned to say yes to everything, especially if their partner is a male and is from a culture where being the man is the dominant role.
And also looking at the other side, if you've got people where they're very brought up the man does everything, the man's strong, and they actually want to be the pup, to actually surrender and be a submissive. I mean, there's that side of it as well.
I'm trying to imagine some of the most powerful men who are presidents of big nations.
I was just thinking of exactly that person. We
I
won't
think there's a couple of them. I think
them.
there's some in the East and some in the West.
Yes.
And probably some in the Middle East as well.
Yes.
And everywhere in between.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, if we're thinking about relationships, and being in any kind of relationship where there is a kink involved or any kind of sexual, behavior that's involved that you're not comfortable with and that pushes you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
How would you, work with a client to handle that?
Well, I think it's all about consent. And I think I'd be looking, like you said, in other areas of their life, they're not able to say no. And to sort of go back when the last time they remembered, that they didn't say yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's starting from there, because if it's just this particular area in their life that they can't say no, then it's exploring that. But if not, it might be as a whole. We always look at the clients as a whole person, not just that particular aspect.
Yeah. And I think a big thing to be saying to our audience is that, we want to remind you that counselling should be a safe, non-judgmental and empowering place.
Yes, it should
for
be.
you, where you can explore freely, honestly and openly what your issues are. So if counselling doesn't make you feel like that, then maybe you might not be with the right counsellor.
Yeah, I was going to say that. So don't give up, because sometimes I hear people and say, "Oh, I tried counselling, it's rubbish." Now, that doesn't mean that person's a rubbish counsellor. There's lots of modalities, and sometimes it's like a personality. I mean, you can go to the doctors, for example, and my doctors has got quite a few different types of doctors, but there'd be one that maybe you get. They're all qualified, they're all exactly the same, and everybody you just need to find your person, and you'll know you've got a good counsellor.
Yeah, and it's like a doctor with a bedside manner.
Exactly.
There are some doctors who are very gruff and very abrupt, and there are others who will take the time and explain to you, what's happening. So I think, if people are coming into my therapy space and they're coming in and they're feeling vulnerable or discomforted by something, I would want them to feel reassured. I'd want them to know that, again, this is a really confidential space, outside of the limits of kind of safeguarding and prevent, anything that is said in this room stays in this room.
Yeah.
And I think when we're dealing with issues like these, which are, a bit outside of maybe what some people would consider normal.
Yeah.
Then we'd want that reassurance to be, maybe more assertively.
And also students, as trainees, as we're training now, I actually love the face-to-face, and I do have clients online. You can still see faces in that, but on the telephone, dealing with difficult subjects, I feel that the client sort of gets a lot from that if there's some taboo things to talk about, because they're not being judged. But from a counselling point of view, it's so important then for your tone of voice and your timing to get that right, so they feel, because they can't see our body language and they can't see our facial expression, they can't see the empathy. So it's so important then everything else becomes, and the only thing they've got is hearing and tone of voice.
Yeah. And so our language needs to be really open and empathetic and compassionate. And, really, you can hear when someone's willing to help you. You can hear when somebody really wants to listen to you. So I think those are all indicators that a client could look for in a telephone or online session, but even in a session which is face-to-face as well. If your counsellor's kind of sitting back from you and kind of not leaning in, not listening, you can see and feel that.
And if they're not, I know some people don't like eye contact, but if they're looking out the window, or maybe, no counsellor should be doing things like that, like checking the time and stuff like that. They should just be present with you. And I know for some people, especially, we're saying that this is people with neurodivergent, that can be quite difficult, that face-to-face.
Yeah, so telephone might work. Much better for someone who's, neurodivergent. But me, I like face-to-face conversations.
Yeah, I do.
I find that more empowering. But you'd want a counsellor who's, kind of respectfully curious,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll be asking you questions about, you know, the famous question in counselling is always, and how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
But you know, you'd want unconditional, you know, positive regard.
Yeah.
These are all the things that we learn as basics in counselling before we're even, you know, let loose with the clients.
And if you're a client who's bringing a taboo topic to, and you're looking for a new counsellor, it is okay to say, it's okay to say, look, this is what I want to discuss. This is what's going on before, like, you know, just give them a background and say, what experience have you got in there? Now, they might not have an experience, but they might be willing, and that doesn't mean they're the wrong counsellor. They might be willing to work with you, and you will be able to tell as well. And I'd like to think that if a client approached me and said, I want to talk about this, and it was something, because there are certain things that I don't think I would be able to work with. And I think all counsellors are trained that if there is something that's maybe triggering for them, or they don't feel they'll be able to support somebody, is they'll just be honest.
Yeah. And I think boundaries are really, really important to discuss here, because if someone's bringing a very sensitive subject, something that might be, you know, quite uncomfortable for them to discuss, we would work to set the parameters for that conversation.
Yes.
And then if, you know, those parameters need to be expanded, we could agree how that's going to happen, so that the client always feels that they're in control of this conversation. And our role as the counsellor is to listen and to have really good questions or observations to ask or to make to our clients.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Nils. I am brilliant.
You are brilliant. Good girl. Good girl. Babushka, stop cocking your leg up at the computer.
I want a treat. I want a treat.
I'll throw you a bone. I think that's that from us then.
I think it is. And I think, you know, whatever kind of relationship you're in with yourself or with other people, you know, be able to articulate your needs, your limits, and your desires. Understand those three things, I think, is really important. And, you know, be as assertive as you can in your communication with whoever you are in this relationship with, whether you're the sub or the dom, you know, whether you're in role play or not in role play, because communication around your needs and your limits and your boundaries are going to be really important in terms of keeping this safe, you know, and you feeling respected and feeling that you can negotiate and navigate this relationship on your terms.
And setting boundaries.
Definitely setting boundaries. So, hoping that today you've been informed, that you found this discussion really enthusiastic, and that we've been really clear about the specifics. And that if you're feeling that you'd like to explore this further, as Lil said, the internet is a big, vast universe.
Yes, it is. There's
of
lots
information.
And if any of our listeners have been to any of these, what do we call them, pup meets? I'm not too sure what the right word is, a pup meet. If anyone has got any tips for us, because, you know, the etiquette, we want to make sure that we're not offensive and we don't do anything wrong, and would like to send some suggestions on what Babushka will be wearing, then please. I mean, I might go to Disney.
Voting.
I'm going to go to Disney shop, see if I'll get your Dalmatian outfit. Can I go as Cruella? That would be good.
For whom?
For me.
For whom, Nils?
It's a very selfish relationship here.
You just want to wear a fur coat and high heels.
That's it, and red lipstick. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm really hoping, listeners, you know, that you've had a laugh with us today.
You've learned a lot.
Please, send your comments, you know, send ideas for things that you'd like us to discuss on this podcast. We really want to, you know, have that close connection with you.
Yeah. And remember, nothing is taboo. Nothing is taboo for us, as long as it's all consensual and over the age of 18.
And as long as Lils is in high heels and a fur coat.
And I don't have to do anything that I'm on my knees, then we're fine. So that's good night from me then.
So that's it for this episode of Taboo Couch, where we've barked, we've crawled and cuddled our way through this really complex, controversial and surprisingly kind of tender world of, pup love, kink. Yes. And, we've explored what it means to find safety in play, and there is power in submission. Mm-hmm. And, there's a truth in a tail wag.
And don't sniff bums when you're out.
Unless they smell of roses.
Yes.
So we're not here to tame the wild or to shame the weird. We're just here to say, everyone deserves to be safe, to be seen, and to be heard.
Yes, safe, seen, and heard, definitely.
Yeah. So keep being your beautiful self.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how messy that is, you have a right to be who you are. And this couch has room for you too.
For everyone.
Including your moon-sized bum.
Not many people will get on with me, though, because I'll take up quite a bit of the couch, but it's a beautiful bum.
It is. It really is. Listeners, let me make it clear. I've not seen it in its full glory. I've only ever seen it clothed.
But you might do when we dress up as those dogs.
So until next time, listeners, be kind to each other, stay weird, stay wonderful, and if life throws you a stick, fetch.
Brilliant.
That's it from Taboo Couch. Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye.